Welcome back to my channel. Today we're taking a deep dive into some of the most pivotal episodes of Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
The ones that didn't just entertain us, but fundamentally changed the course of the show. These are the episodes where the stakes were raised, where our favorite characters faced life-altering challenges, and where the storylines took turns that no one saw coming. Whether it was a shocking twist, a heartbreaking loss, or a moment of triumph, these episodes have left a lasting mark on both the series and its fans. So grab some popcorn and get comfortable as we explore the top 10 Grey's Anatomy episodes that truly changed the show forever. And if you're as obsessed with Grey's as I am, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment of drama. Let's get into it. Starting off at number 10, we have Who's Zoomin' Who? Addison, Derek's wife's sudden entrance, was one of the most shocking twists of Grey's Anatomy Season 1. Meredith's world was turned upside down when Addison showed up in Seattle Grace Hospital and confronted her with the unforgettable line,
"And you must be the woman who's been screwing my husband."
Even though Derek had mentioned Addison briefly before, seeing her walk into the hospital was a huge surprise. The tension between Derek and Addison and her first impression of Meredith made the moment even more dramatic. At number 9, we have 17 Seconds. In this episode, Izzy Stevens became increasingly desperate in her efforts to save Denny Duquette, who was a patient at the hospital. As Denny struggled with severe heart issues, he was being treated with an LVAD. In a desperate move to improve his chances, Izzy decided to cut the LVAD's wires, knowing this would push him up the transplant list. When a donor heart became available, it was originally intended for another patient, but Izzy's drastic action was driven by her deep love for Denny. Unfortunately, despite the transplant, Denny's condition did not improve and he soon died from a clot. His tragic death left a lasting impact on Izzy, marking one of the most memorable moments in Grey's Anatomy, and his memory stayed with her throughout the rest of her journey on the show. And at number 8, we have Didn't We Almost Have It All? Preston Burke and Christina Yang were planning on getting married. The couple's plan for a modest ceremony quickly spiraled into an extravagant event. At the last minute, Burke told Christina that he no longer wished to make her do anything against her will, and he realized he was trying to make Christina the woman he wanted her to be, rather than accepting her as the woman she is.
I'm up there waiting for you to come down the aisle, and I know you don't want to come. I know you don't want to come, but that you'll come anyway because you love me.
So he left her in the chapel. What made the situation even more painful was that Burke didn't stay to confront the fallout of his decision. Christina came home to find all his belongings gone, as if he had never been there, leaving her heartbroken and devastated. At number 7, we have Now or Never. In this episode, after being severely injured in a bus accident while saving a stranger, George is brought into the hospital as an unidentified John Doe. Despite the efforts of his friends and colleagues to save him, his injuries are too severe and he dies. Because of severe facial scarring, his colleagues didn't realize it was George. The only reason he was identified was because he wrote 007 on Meredith's palm.
Double O 7.
Which was a brilliant callback to some of their earlier episodes and created a sense of closure. And at number 6, we have Death and All His Friends. A grieving widower named Gary Clark, who blames the hospital for his wife's death, enters Seattle Grace Mercy West Hospital armed and seeking revenge. The hospital's mass shooting had a profound impact on every character, with a series of intense and emotional scenes. Alex Karev was shot, leading Lexi Gray to fight desperately to save him, and the dramatic climax of the situation when Richard confronts the shooter, who ultimately took his own life. The event was particularly devastating for Meredith, who suffered a miscarriage while treating Owen's gunshot wound, and Christina, who developed PTSD after saving Derek's life. Coming off at number 5, we have Flight. This episode is intense and emotional as several doctors are involved in a plane crash while on their way to a medical emergency. Meredith, Derek, Christina, Mark, Arizona, and Lexi are among those on the plane. The crash leaves them stranded in the woods, injured and struggling to survive. Tragically, Lexi dies from her injuries, which deeply affects everyone, especially Mark, who loved her. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, leaving viewers worried about the fate of the doctors who are still stranded. At number 4, we have Fear of the Unknown. In this emotional moment, Christina Yang, one of the show's main characters, leaves Seattle to take a prestigious job in Switzerland. Before she leaves, she shares heartfelt moments with Meredith and gives advice to Alex about his career. Meanwhile, a possible explosion at a mall forces everyone in the hospital into action, highlighting how much the characters have grown. And at number 3, we have How to Save a Life. This was one of Grey's Anatomy's saddest episodes because of the car crash that led to Derek Shepherd's agonizing death. He was involved in a collision after stopping to help victims of a car accident and was taken to a hospital with insufficient trauma care. Due to delays and misdiagnosis, he suffers severe brain damage. When Meredith arrives, she makes the heartbreaking decision to take him off life support. At number 2, we have My Shot. Meredith was fired due to insurance fraud. In order to help a patient suffering from lymphoma who needed surgery and years of treatment and follow-up, Meredith listed her as her own daughter so that the insurance would cover the surgery. This situation turned out to be a lot more complicated, and she was not only fired, but she was also sent to jail for a while and resulted in her losing her medical license. However, this episode was so pivotal because of how many people came to her defense at the medical license hearing. Alex, Richard, and Bailey all spoke in favor of her and provided her crucial support. Meredith also called out Paul, one of the committee members, for his involvement in Derek's death. She said Paul has no right to mention her daughter's name because he was the one who killed her father, and he doesn't deserve to judge her or anyone. Finally, at number 1, we have Good as Hell. Season 17 of Grey's Anatomy focused heavily on the COVID-19 pandemic, and after Meredith contracted the virus, she fell into a coma. In this episode, her coma induced some surreal delusions. On the beach where she imagined herself, Meredith encountered familiar faces from her past. But the most memorable reunion was with her late husband, Derek. Derek's unexpected appearance offered Meredith the emotional closure she needed, and his presence gave her the strength to wake up. Zola, who is Meredith's daughter, is brought into the hospital to see her. She puts on the gown and a KN95. They lead her to Meredith's room and encourage her to go in. She runs to her bedside and starts talking to her and then hugs her. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the Grey's Anatomy episodes that truly transformed the show. These episodes remind us why we fell in love with the series in the first place, because of the powerful storytelling and unforgettable moments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on more Grey's Anatomy insights and other TV show recaps. Until next time, take care.